Hey everyone, welcome back. I apologize, it's been months I think since I last uploaded. I uploaded my first two videos and then I got sick and then I got really busy with life and with school. So now I'm going to try to be more consistent because I've survived like the first block, well technically the first two blocks of nursing school, but I'll get to that in another video. Today what I wanted to address was something that's more far-reaching, so to speak, and that is personal statements. To give you a little bit of background into just kind of my credentials and why I'm making a video about this, or how my experience aligns and parallels personal statements. I'm a professional writer. I have been a professional writer for about 6 years now, 6 or so years. And during nursing school, or getting my prereqs for nursing school, I was obviously involved with a lot of students that were pursuing, the medical field. So obviously with like anatomy and physiology and all of that, I've met a lot of people, or I had met a lot of students throughout the course of getting my prereqs done for nursing school. And in that, I had kind of just fallen into an opportunity to help coach and mentor students through the process of writing their personal statements. So I thought I would make a video about personal statements in general, because I think it's applicable to so many different mediums, because like I said, pretty much everyone in the health community has to submit a personal statement at some point throughout their application journey. So I thought I would share some of my expertise as a writer, and then also my expertise as a mentor. I kind of made this a little side business while I was in school, and actually I've done 5 or so recently within the past 6 or so months, helped other students write their personal statements. I've probably done or helped coordinate and coach 15 people, 15, 20, something like that. So I essentially coached people throughout just various medical pursuits. So that would be like, I've done physical therapy school, I've helped people obviously going into nursing school, I've helped people going into med school, DO school, both of those. So I have a wide range. Oh, PA school as well. I've done 4 or 5 PA school. Personal statements are helped kind of edit and tweak those for people. So anyway, I have a lot of experience with personal statements. So since I've dragged on for almost 3 minutes about just kind of my credentials, I just wanted to give you a glimpse into why I feel like I'm, a credible source in terms of helping people with personal statements and just my experience with it thus far. Obviously, I wrote my personal statement as well, which helped me get into nursing school. So there's that. Okay, so the number one piece of advice I have for people wanting to write a killer personal statement is make it emotional. It seems so simple, but it is by far the most important thing that you could do. Like, seriously, I always counsel students and tell students, just forget all of your experience. I'll work that in, when I'm helping people. It's like, I'll help work a few of those elements into your personal statement as we go, but that's not really important at the end of the day. What is important is that you connect with the person that's reading your personal statement, right? You're wanting to foster and connect and build relationships with someone reading your statement, because that's what makes you memorable. If you elicit an emotional response in that person, then it makes you stand out. And that's what you want, because if you stand out, then you leave an impression. The more likely you are to, leave a deep impression on someone, the more likely you are to be accepted into the school of your choice. So that is the number one thing. Like I said, I don't care if you could have 5 pages of accolades and awards and all kinds of experience, but if you do not connect with the person reading your paper, it is an absolute lost cause and it's a waste of your time. Just being real here. So as a writer, I think that's what makes a really good writer great, is the ability to tap into the target market, determine what he or she or the group of people, the demographic, are looking for, and then kind of tug on those heartstrings and connect with someone. If you're a marketer, that's what you want to do to sell products, right? You want to elicit an emotional response in someone that's reading your ad campaigns or someone that you're looking to network with, because the more likely you are to connect with them, the more likely that connection will grow and evolve into something deeper later on. So, emotional. And the way that you write emotionally is you tell your story. Again, I'm not talking about, just a laundry list, like a resume of your achievements. That's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about the aspects of you that make you you, the aspects of your journey that are unique to you, your personal struggles, where you stand out, how you stand out against everyone else. What is the one piece or the unique experience that you have that sets you apart from other people? Really focus on that and make that the target message of your personal statement. Because again, you're trying to sell yourself, right? And you're not going to be able to do that if you're just listing out a bunch of achievements, because I guarantee you, especially if you have a really competitive pool, your achievements are going to look like the other hundreds of people and their long list of achievements as well. What sets you apart? What makes you unique? Make that your focus, okay? The other thing that's really important to share, and I find this more, at least in my experience, I find that this element tends to lack more with medical personal statements, like doctors and NDOs, and occasionally PAs as well, more so than like the nursing field. So the next element is make sure that you share why this is your dream. Like, how did you know? What was the pivotal moment in your life where you thought, oh crap, this is what I want to do with my life? Or if it wasn't just one, talk about how your journey led you to where you are now. Like all the little pieces that you had no idea were going to intersect at one point and you would end up where you are now, right? Those types of things are really important, because you can be the smartest person in the world, but if you don't have passion, it's going to be a really, really long and painful journey for you. Okay? Like, it just is. The medical community, it's no joke. Nursing school is no joke. Med school is no joke. PA school, no joke, right? You're sensing a trend. None of it is easy. So if you don't have passion, then there's no point, right? And that's important. The person reading your personal statement will have your transcripts. They'll be able to see all of your grades. They'll know how you can perform, from like a logical, practical perspective. But when it comes down to it, do you have enough passion to sustain you throughout the course and the rigor of whatever school you're going to be attending? That's important. Another element that's really important to touch on, in my opinion, and it worked really well for my situation because I was applying for a very unique program in a very unique school. As I've mentioned in my other videos, I was applying to an online nursing school, which is kind of cutting edge, so to speak, and their philosophy is really different compared to your traditional brick and mortar schools. So I needed something that could tie my skill set and my drive and my motivation to what the school has to offer. And that is something that you should do as well. Why do you want to attend this particular school? And I'm not talking just a blanketed, like, I love this school so much because it's so amazing and it's the top 5 in the state, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Because that's boring and no one cares, and it sounds like just a blanketed kiss-ass statement if you want my my honest opinion, I guess, my unfiltered opinion. That's what that is. So think about what that particular school stands for. What makes them stand out? Why do you want to attend this particular program? Let's say they offer an opportunity for you to do, some volunteer work or overseas or whatever. So anything that makes you a good fit for that particular program and the virtues of that school. You'll have an idea of what is important to each school by just reading over, the general university page. If they have a mission statement or something, tie your desires or your motivations into the mission statement for the school or for a med school or a nursing school if you want to go more specific, right? versus just kind of the university's vision overall. That's fine, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just tie you into them if you can. And another piece of advice I would have, or I would offer, is to kind of change up the tone of your writing. And this is difficult for me to get in depth in this video because it's kind of convoluted, and it's something that if you're a writer just kind of comes naturally, right? To me, it's fairly intuitive, but for others it's more difficult, and that is to kind of change the tempo of your writing. Your writing should essentially be like poetry, but in prose, right? If someone's reading it, you want it to be written in a way that's going to be palatable to people. And so by that I mean something as simple as changing your sentence length every so often. So each one of us has a sentence length that we're really comfortable with. For me, I'm the one that writes the really long, convoluted sentences. I could do that all day, every day. What I'm not so great at, and what I really have to make a conscious effort to infuse into my work, is short statements that pack and punch, right? So like your, 5-word statements or whatever that are like, boom, that are just gonna make a big impact and say a lot, and kind of break up the really long sentences or the medium length sentences. If you do that, if you can kind of keep in mind changing how many words you have per sentence, that will help you with the tone of your piece, and you want your tone and the flow of your piece as well. So you want it to flow really well, right? You want it to be like music when someone's reading it. You want the tempo to be such that it sounds really balanced, right? So bear that in mind. Another thing I would suggest is, if you can, hire someone to help you. I can't tell you how many students, after I've helped them, are just essentially so grateful that I would just kind of hold their hand and walk them through the process. Because as a professional writer, like I said, it's just something that comes naturally to me. I'm very good at editing and knowing, okay, look, this sounds a little off. If you want to convey this message, let's do it a little bit differently. Let's add this word or these elements to make it more, to leave a much longer lasting impression on the reader, right? And for something as big as a personal statement, in my opinion, especially if you're going to, be applying to a million different schools, or even just one, and you're banking on that school, you want your personal statement to literally be like the best it can possibly be, the best reflection of you possible. And it's not easy, right? I'm a professional writer, and even sitting down to write mine, it took some time. In fact, I often joke with people that it's easier to write for other people than it is to write for yourself, because you're so lost in your own head sometimes when you write. Whereas someone else is, that objective kind of third party, and can say, okay, look, I don't know you. Like, for instance, with most of the students that I've helped, they've all been referrals. It started out with a friend, and then they told a friend, and so on and so forth, right? So a lot of the students I've been helping, I've never met before in my life. And I think, okay, reading this does nothing for me, right? You wouldn't stand out in a crowd. But if we add this and this and this, it would make you stand out, right? So again, it adds an objective third party to the mix, someone that knows what they're doing. I think there are a lot of people that offer these types of services. There were a couple that I know of just through the medical community at my particular campus. But anyway, if you can, find someone to help you, because that's what it's all about, right? And then edit, a million times. Have a lot of people read it if you can. Change things. Like, don't just allocate 2 days to write your personal statement. Like, give it a week, right? Start it out, just do your blanket, like, rough draft. Get it all out on paper, and then sleep on it. Wake up the next day, look at it again, so on and so forth, until you've perfected your craft, so to speak. So that's a very condensed video for a really convoluted subject. I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. I have more information on my blog, or more in-depth look at what I'm talking about on my blog, so feel free to visit that. I have the link in the description box below. And I look forward to your comments. If you have questions, or if you need help with anything in your personal statements, just leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to help. Thanks so much, and good luck. I'll see you in the next video.